I never imagined the moment I proposed to the woman I loved would become the beginning of the end. But that's how life works sometimes. Quiet warnings you don't see until they've already detonated. My name is Ryan Carter, 30. Until a few nights ago, I thought I was going to marry Sophia. We were celebrating her promotion at a rooftop bar in downtown Denver. Golden lights, slow music, the kind of place where people pretend everything is perfect because the city looks small from that high up. My best friend Mason was there too. I've known him since high school, loyal to a fault, or at least I used to think so. The evening started out great. Drinks flowing, laughter echoing, Sophia's hand wrapped in mine. She looked stunning in a simple black dress. Her hair pulled back just enough to show the earrings I'd bought her last Christmas. Every time she leaned in to whisper something to me, I felt the future we'd planned pulling us closer. But something subtle was off. A slight shift in her smile, a hesitation in her touch, a glance she didn't mean for me to catch. Mason showed up late, breathless and grinning like he owned the place. Sophia's face lit up in a way I hadn't seen all evening. They hugged too long, too close. I brushed it off. They'd always been friendly, comfortable. I never worried because I never thought I had reason to. Throughout the night they kept drifting toward each other. Inside jokes, soft laughter, little nudges, the kind of behavior you can't really call someone out on, but you feel anyway, like a pebble in your shoe that won't go away. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself to trust her. I told myself Mason would never cross that line. But the thing about truth is it doesn't care what you tell yourself. At some point the group moved to the dance floor. It wasn't crowded, just a slow hum of swaying bodies under dim lights. I stayed back at the table for a moment, taking in the skyline, thinking about the ring in my pocket. I'd spent months saving for it, months imagining how I'd hold her hand, how her eyes would fill with tears, how she'd whisper yes against my neck. But when I looked up, the world narrowed. Sophia was pressed against Mason, too close, her hands on his chest, his hand on her waist. They were laughing, leaning in, faces inches apart. I felt a sharp, cold cut inside me, but I still made excuses in my head. Maybe the music was too loud. Maybe they were drinking too fast. Maybe I was overthinking everything. And then it happened. She kissed him. Not a drunken accident. Not a messy stumble. A deliberate, lingering kiss, one she leaned into. Mason didn't pull away. He didn't even flinch. In that moment, the world didn't just break. It clarified. Every hesitation, every strange smile, every quiet shift in her eyes from earlier that night came into perfect focus. My heart didn't rage. It didn't shatter. It just stilled. I didn't make a scene. I didn't shout. I didn't storm over or demand an explanation. Instead, I reached into my pocket, pulled out the ring box and set it on the table. It looked strangely peaceful sitting there, like it had found the truth before I did. I stood up. The cool night breeze hit my face as I walked toward the exit. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Some endings don't require confirmation. You just feel them. When I reached the street, the noise of the city wrapped around me. Car horns, distant chatter, the chaotic hum of strangers living lives far removed from mine. And for the first time in months, my chest felt lighter. I didn't leave out of anger. I left because something inside me knew. Once someone chooses to betray you, you don't beg for their loyalty. You reclaim your dignity. And that's exactly what I planned to do. I walked for almost an hour with no destination, just letting the night guide me. The city felt different, sharper, clearer. Like someone had opened a window in a room I hadn't realized was suffocating me. I ended up at a quiet park a few blocks away, the kind with old wooden benches and flickering street lamps. I sat down, pulled out my phone, and for a long time just stared at the blank screen. No messages, no calls, nothing. It was strange. Part of me expected her to at least pretend to care. Maybe she hadn't even noticed I was gone. Maybe she was too busy wiping Mason's taste off her lips. My jaw tightened at the thought, but anger wasn't what filled me. It was a calm, cold clarity. The kind that only comes after you've seen exactly where you stand in someone's life. I finally texted her 4 simple words. You don't have to explain. I didn't want lies. I didn't want excuses. I didn't want a performance. I wanted distance. It took her 20 minutes to reply. Ryan, where did you go? As if she didn't already know. I didn't answer. More messages followed. First worried, then confused, then irritated. Her final text that night read, "Can we talk tomorrow? You're overreacting. Overreacting." A full kiss with my best friend, and that was her takeaway. The next morning, sunlight woke me before my alarm. I didn't feel heartbreak. I didn't feel loss. I felt done, completely quietly done. When I finally checked my phone, there were 10 missed calls from Sophia and 3 from Mason. His last voicemail said, "Man, it's not what it looked like. Call me." I deleted it without listening to the rest. By noon, Sophia showed up outside my apartment in Aurora. I saw her through the peephole, mascara smudged, hair tied back, pacing like someone rehearsing an apology they didn't fully believe. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. She exhaled in relief. "Ryan, thank God. Can we please talk? Last night was stupid. I was drunk. Mason was drunk. It meant nothing." I watched her struggle to piece together a version of the story where she wasn't the villain. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. That tiny movement said everything. Her eyes flickered, annoyance more than guilt. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't ask for an apology," I replied. My voice didn't shake, didn't even rise. "I asked for honesty, and you still can't give me that." She swallowed hard. "It was just a kiss." I almost laughed. Just a kiss with the man I trusted most. Just a kiss you leaned into. Just a kiss you didn't seem conflicted about at all. Her silence confirmed everything. She and Mason weren't a mistake. They were a choice. And choices reveal character. "Ryan," she said softly, "can we fix this? We've built a life together. Don't throw it away over one moment." "No," I said. "You threw it away. I'm just acknowledging it." Her eyes hardened. "You're making a huge mistake." "Maybe," I answered. "But at least it's mine to make." For a moment she just stared, waiting for the version of me she could manipulate. But that guy wasn't home anymore. She left with a sharp slam of the door, the kind meant to hurt someone's feelings. It didn't touch me. Later that evening, Mason came by. I didn't open the door. I didn't owe him a conversation. Some betrayals don't deserve closure. I blocked them both that night. No long messages, no dramatic speeches, no second chances. I gave them silence, the most honest response I had left. The following weeks were strangely peaceful. I threw myself into work, reconnected with my brother, got back to the gym, spent time with people who never made my chest feel heavy. Life didn't crumble. It recalibrated. And whenever someone asked about the engagement, I simply said it wasn't meant for the man I've become, because that was the truth. Walking away from that rooftop wasn't an act of heartbreak. It was an act of self-respect. And the ring I left on the table? That wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning of me finally choosing myself for the first time in a long time.